Welcome, gentle listener, I am Baldermort, your faithful servant, and I wish to introduce you to the factions, forces, and faces of the Warhammer 40k setting, the grim darkness of the far future, where there is no time for peace, there is only time for war. We also have channels for mythology and natural history, links in the description. We now also have super thanks, so like, subscribe, and throw me a coin if you enjoyed the video more than usual, or Patreon of course. Now, let us proceed. For today, we take a walk on the wild side, the dark depths of the secrets of what it is to be a thrall to evil, a servant of chaos. Many will tout that they are not snivelling worshippers of the corpse god, that everything, their adherence to his will and glory, are but peons and rabble, drones who do naught but die in his service, for there is certainly nothing even approximating what we today would presently call living. Yet the truth of the matter is far starker and darker than many wish to believe. But to get to this, to have a common understanding by which to discuss, we must first hear the tale, the life, the tragedy of the Masque of Slaanesh. And so, as usual, for the very basics, let us lean on existing wisdom. To quote, "The Masque of Slaanesh, eternal dancer of Slaanesh. Once the chief handmaiden of Slaanesh, the Masque used to comb the Dark Prince's shining hair and oil it with fragrant balms. When Slaanesh's mood was grim, the Masque would dance to lighten his thoughts, enrapturing her guard with the most dazzling and acrobatic displays. Yet for all of Slaanesh's indulgence, the Masque was to become the most despised of all of the Prince of Pleasure's servants. During the eternal wrangling and wars that make up the great game, it came about that Tzeentch tricked Slaanesh into an unwinnable battle against both Khorne and Nurgle, the ill-fated Provocation Wars. It was a hard-fought series of campaigns that ended only with the Dark Prince's utter defeat and subsequent humiliation. Seeing the dark mood of her master, the Masque took it upon herself to ease his heart with her most energetic and scintillating dance ever. Where once her leaps and pirouettes had brought laughter and joy, now Slaanesh's bitter heart saw mockery. Each perfect combination of moves calculated to be barbs to his pierced pride. Enraged, Slaanesh cast the Masque aside, condemning her as a traitor. He cursed her, saying that if she wanted to dance, she must dance forevermore. Such has been the Masque's doom, to dance across reality. In the circle of Slaanesh's realm, she pirouettes for other demonettes, entrancing them with her sinuous movements until they are so enraptured that they can no longer move or speak. She dances at the gates of Khorne, mocking the bloodletters who snarl and growl at her impudence. The Masque dances across the mortal worlds of the galaxy, trapping those who witness her, where mortals indulge their senses, where excesses overcome restraint. The Masque appears to lead the incautious on a dance of doom. She enacts the tales of Slaanesh's glorious history, her bespoke destiny, and his most unholy conquests. Her golden mask flickers and changes, matching the roles of the characters she plays. So powerful is the lure of the Masque's display that all who see it feel compelled to join in the performance. Immortal demons and crude mortals alike, feeling this calling in their hearts, and are powerless to resist, joining the show as if they had rehearsed their parts for an eternity. In the dance of dreaming, where the character of the sublime prince awaits to be born, the masked troupe is lulled into a lethargic trance, whilst in the dance of death, a reenactment of one of Slaanesh's great victories over Khorne, the cast leap and flail and claw at their eyes and throats. Consumed by the ecstasy and agony of the Masque's aura, they will happily dance themselves to death. using up their last ounce of energy, their dying breath, to keep pace with her twirls and somersaults. The Masque has been known to turn up unheralded on battlefields across the galaxy. She has danced to the screams of those massacred by Khorne's bloodletters and pirouetted to the droning count of Nurgle's plague-bearers, a figure of grace amongst the brutal and bloated. Most often, however, the Masque will appear alongside the cavalcades of her master's legions of excess. Her insane prancing reaches new heights when she is at the center of a Kuranti legion, surrounded by cavorting demonettes. There her dazzling acrobatics inspire her sisters to magnificent performances of bloodshed. If she could follow her own will, that is where she might stay. But Slaanesh can be petulant, and still refuses to remove the hex from her. So does the Masque continue dancing wherever the fickle whims of her curse takes her. End quote. But this is not all. For this horror, vilified even by her own patron deity, has been instrumental of some of the most important moments in the grim darkness. For it was she who boarded Bialtan with the moronic but deadly Scarbrand, and thus she who inadvertently caused the first real appearance of the Incarn, the very avatar of Inyad, the Eldari god of the dead. And it is her example that I like to think most encapsulates being a servant of evil. They are not called slaves to darkness without cause. For even as she prances and pirouettes through time and space, she cannot take anything but glee in the service of her god, no matter how ill-fated she may be, how cursed. And it goes to show the old adage, once you start down the dark path, forever will it dominate your destiny. There is no self, no accomplishment, no glory or reprieve when you serve the dark gods. Meaning to free themselves of chains, order, laws, and constraints, the ultimate joke is that all of these free-thinking and selfish marines or traitors, cultists or wizards, are merely pawns for their new masters, to be used and discarded, cursed and killed at the whim of their terrible gods. No action of worth can save the slave from the lash. You are only ever as good as your last day, your last supplication to the terrible powers. For they know no gratitude. Nothing has worth to them. Nothing. And every adherent to the Dark Ones will claim to be free, to be doing what they wish. But in reality, they are no more their own masters than the meanest and weakest of all demons of the warp. They are slaves, and they are treated like slaves. They do nothing more than add greater glory to their owners, the dark gods of chaos. Thank you for your precious time. Now, no matter what you do today, do try to make some time for fun. Toodaloo.